Hello and welcome to News at the Edge, where we give you news and information about all the great things happening at Edgecombe Community College. I'm your host, Tameka Kenan-Norman, and today's show is all about SkillsUSA. It's a competition featuring the very best in career and technical education. We have a number of ECC students participating in SkillsUSA along with their advisors, and today we have one of those advisors with us today, Rebecca Stamilio-Ehret, who's also an instructor and department chair at ECC. So hello and welcome to News at the Edge.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I was just reading that and I'm like, she wears a whole lot of hats at the college.
I do.
Yeah.
I teach a wide variety of subjects from astronomy and physics to engineering and electronics.
Yeah, those things scare me. But
they're the most fun though.
Yeah,
they're where you can get your hands dirty and move things around. And
Yeah, my son loves it. He loves science. But let's talk about SkillsUSA. And when I hear SkillsUSA, I hear competition, showcase, it's a conference, leadership, but it's more than that. How would you describe the full scope of SkillsUSA?
So SkillsUSA is a career and technical education organization. It is one of the top ones in the United States, and it's your go-to when you're talking about skills for CTE for the future. And SkillsUSA has chapters in all of the states and several of the U.S. territories. So yes, students compete in competitions, but it's more than just a competition. It's about growing students to be work ready on day one. And we do that through teaching students about the SkillsUSA framework, which is based on personal skills, workplace skills, and technical skills. Students get to take those skills that they've learned and they get to apply it a lot of times to a project, or they are competing against other students in a real life competition. Different aspects that students might compete in are everything from welding to bakery and pastry arts. For Edgecombe Community College, we typically have students in the cosmetology field. There's several different competitions that they compete in. And then also we have welding, has several different competitions. One that I'm actually the state chair for is Career Pathway Showcase. And there's 6 areas that students can compete in as a team for Career Pathway Showcase. And we've had in the past, not just our engineering students, but we've also had criminal justice. And there are some criminal justice competitions that students have done, and many others.
Wow, I went the year before last. I didn't see the criminal justice competition, but I saw some projects, welding, construction even, I saw. I mean, they're really superb. I was blown away by seeing what these students can do. Yeah, it's amazing.
And I'm sorry I didn't mention the construction, because they usually do a fantastic job. They this year they built a hen house. Last year they built a playhouse, and they built everything from scratch, and it is the same stuff that you would go and buy professionally.
It is.
Students do a great job.
Yeah. So we know that there's a state competition, there's a national competition as well, but tell me, how did those students perform in the state competition?
So I have to brag a little bit that ECC has done very well over the years, and a high percentage of our students going to the state competition actually come away with 1st through 5th place medals. This year we took several students and we won 19 competitions. Now that's not 19 students, because several of those competitions are team events, and out of 65 students that went, almost over 50 of them came back with a medal.
That is awesome. Go ahead, brag, girl. Yeah. So 65 was the largest number ever that we've taken to the state competition, right?
Yes, and we've increased over the years. One thing our president, Dr. McLeod, has issued as a directive is to grow SkillsUSA, because it is such great opportunity for students to get out there and see what there is in the world. SkillsUSA for us is not just about all the work we do at the school and going to the competition, but it's about even the travel aspect, because sometimes students haven't even left Edgecombe, Nash, Martin, Pitt County.
Gotcha.
They've been over here in eastern North Carolina, and some of them haven't even gone to Greensboro before, where the state competition is. and we usually try and push them outside their comfort zone a little bit and try new foods from different cultures that they might not have had before.
Yeah, and that's one thing we didn't mention. It's in Greensboro, and it's at what, the convention center?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so as you can imagine, there's 110 different competitions, and SkillsUSA has a middle school, a high school, and a post-secondary division, and there are lots of students across the state. So 110 competitions, not all of them have all 3 levels, but even if you just have high school and college level, you can imagine that 110 gets multiplied, and you have to have a large space. So we've been very lucky for many years to meet in Greensboro, because between the quarry and the convention center Coliseum, there's a lot of space. When we're at both locations, at the Quarry Convention Center and at the Coliseum. And sometimes, even in the last few years, some of those competitions have had to branch out to other satellite locations.
Now, how long has ECC been participating in SkillsUSA, and how long have you been a part of it?
So ECC has been a part of SkillsUSA since 2015. And I remember being interested in the idea of SkillsUSA when they were talking about it for that first year. And I just didn't get to go to the meetings. A lot of things were going on, but when the advisors and the students came back from that first state conference and showed me all the pictures and the information, and as excited as the students were, I knew immediately that I had to make time for it, that this was something that I wanted to be a part of. So starting in 2016, I've been a part of SkillsUSA, and I took my first team of 3 for the Career Pathway Showcase Industrial Engineering Technology on the college level. And I'm actually proud to say that the very first time we went, we not only won state, but we won gold nationally.
Wow, your first time?
Yeah, my very first time.
Wow, so you got to brag on the students and you and the other advisors as well. That is awesome. Now, how have you seen in that time, because this has been about 10 years now, how have you seen SkillsUSA grown, not just the event, but what the students are bringing to the table?
Well, SkillsUSA is one of my favorite things that I'm a part of. Within a year's time frame, sometimes shorter, like a month, 2 months, 3 months, 2 semesters, I get to see students grow, move outside of their comfort zone. They become better public speakers, better at written communication. They grow confidence in themselves. And so within the year itself, I see so much growth within students. And then over the years, as we've continued to do SkillsUSA, I think the accolades and success of previous students helps bolster and encourage the upcoming students, because they know, they've heard on campus about our SkillsUSA students and what they've accomplished, and it makes them want to strive to do more.
Absolutely, and you can see that confidence in our celebration that we had when they returned back from the state competition. We have it on our campus at CFI, Center for Innovation, and it was good to see those projects there for those who couldn't make it to Greensboro and see all the students talk about it. I thought that was a good addition for you to make them talk about their project. Yeah.
A lot of them do have to talk when they're doing their projects. They might have to give a presentation. Some competitions have an interview aspect. I know that criminal justice, welding sculpture, and a few others, it's not just about doing the work. It's also about answering questions and being comfortable with yourself, being ready for interviews for the future, and having that public speaking aspect. And then sometimes they're prepared for that at the competition, and they don't always like to be put on the spot, but it's good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's go to nationals, because that was in Atlanta that you all had to travel. You had 5 students. How well did they do at nationals?
So our students, again, to brag, did pretty amazing. So the students won on the national level. We had a gold for Career Pathway Showcase Industrial Engineering Technology. We had a silver for Principles of Engineering Post-Secondary, and we had a bronze for Principles of Engineering Secondary or high school.
Okay, so I'm so excited because one of your advisees is going to join us on the show. She was a member of a team that won gold that you were just talking about. So she's going to be on up next. Anything you want to mention before we go to break, Rebecca?
Yeah, I want to say that for my students at least, what we do is we have a high altitude balloon competition at our college that's sponsored by NC Space Grant. And our students are working on that project throughout the year, but we tell them up front, you're also going to put this into a SkillsUSA project. So they're kind of working simultaneously, thinking about what aspects can be put towards one of the SkillsUSA competitions. And the students really push themselves because they're not just competing in that one aspect, they're also pushing themselves above and beyond to go to the SkillsUSA Career and Technical Education Conference. And I will say that the students did amazing work, and they really put in the time, put in the effort. And one of the students, Alfredo Hernandez Garcia, who was our post-secondary student for Principles of Engineering, he also went to SkillsUSA last year, was a part of our balloon team, and he competed on the secondary high school level. He received silver nationally, and he made a goal for himself that he wanted, competing on the college level this year, he wanted to get at least silver or better, and I'm happy to say that he was that silver. So he met his goals.
Go ahead, Alfredo. That's wonderful. So we'll be right back with Rebecca, and we're also going to be joined by one of the young ladies from one of the teams as well, one of the gold medal winning teams. So we'll be right back. You're watching News at the Edge. Did you know Edgecombe Community College offers esports, and it could help pay for your education?
So esports is a gaming platform that students at college level and high school level can compete against other schools throughout the country. Edgecombe Community College is providing scholarships for students who cannot financially come to school even at a community college level. It will provide them a way to be able to get their foot in the door to get an education as well as competing in gaming.
Hello and welcome back to News at the Edge. If you are just tuning in, we're talking about ECC's participation in the SkillsUSA State and National Leadership and Skills Conference. And joining me right now is one of the students who participated in SkillsUSA along with her advisor, Ajeda Thomas. Hello.
Hello, it's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, Ajeda. Thanks for being on the show today. Of course, her advisor, Rebecca Stamilio-Ehret, is joining us back again. But how did you feel? Because you're a part of the team that won gold at the national.
Yes, ma'am.
At the national, ma'am. How did that feel?
It was incredibly rewarding. I knew going in that I was not just representing myself, but I was representing a history of gold medals and awards that were won before me. And I put my best foot forward. I was definitely dedicated to winning this gold.
Awesome, awesome. And your team members, I know Rebecca was going to mention those to me, but talk about those.
My team members, we are a part of the North Carolina Space Grant High Altitude Balloon team. This is the general team. There are 5 of us, so that includes me, Alfredo, Jesus, Danny, and Isabella. We are actively participating with North Carolina Space Grant to create a high altitude balloon, but also for SkillsUSA, I participated with a smaller part of our team, which was just me, Danny, and Isabella.
So, Ajeda, tell me about your team's project at SkillsUSA.
So, our project included a payload that would help us research how 2 different types of greenhouse plastics would absorb or refract ultraviolet light. So, we sent up this payload and collected data that we analyzed later when we brought it back. And I think that this particularly stood out to the judges this time because we as students were not just doing this for the classroom, we are actively contributing to scientific research. And when we went there, we brought hard data and research that we were able to communicate to the judges how this contributed to the scientific community. We also had working proof of us connecting with professionals in these fields, and our research might actually help theirs as well.
How involved are you with the students as an advisor?
I mean, I think that I'm very involved with the students. However, their work is their work. I'm there to assist them, to guide them. tweak things, sometimes learn alongside them when we try new things. But they work on this. This is their project.
So, Jada, tell me, what are your career goals? What do you want to do in life?
So in the future, I would like to either be a product manager or a product designer. And hopefully I would like to go to a 4-year institution where I can study design, business analytics, and marketing.
Okay. So how has help from Rebecca, the other advisors, Dr. Jonica Ellis-Kaiser, I think Trey Cherry were the other advisors, how have they helped you in the pursuit of your career goals and even participation in SkillsUSA, period?
I think they really helped me a lot when it comes to oral communication and written communication. We have practiced so many times. Ms. Stamilio will tell you when we were going to nationals or when we were going to state, we'd practice on the way. When we were driving there, she'd be like, okay, like, let's practice. And those moments really helped me solidify what I wanted to say or solidify my confidence in myself when I was at these events.
Well, you're doing well.
Thank you.
So how much time and effort goes into this for you, Jada, and for you, Rebecca, as an advisor?
Oh, lots of time. As she was just hinting at, practice does make perfect. It's not just a saying. So yes, we'd be like, okay, you're doing it again. Okay, but they would surprise us, and they'd be off in a corner saying the words to themselves, practicing even up to the last moment. So. As I said before, this is a big project that they're working on for 2 semesters because they're trying to design a payload to go up to near space with a high altitude balloon, but they're also researching things, writing up proposals, giving presentations to the project manager, and then working on tucking some of that stuff away for when they're going to use it for their SkillsUSA project. So for our students in the engineering related leadership type contests, they start back in the fall. They're meeting at least 2 hours a week. We have a weekly team meeting, but you can't do all of that in just 2 hours a week. So as the semester and then into the spring progresses, they're meeting more inside the lab and then outside of the lab on their own. When it's getting closer to competition, they're finalizing all the things for their experiments and their payload, and then they're practicing their presentations. And then when we're getting close to state, we're practicing, we're tweaking the presentation, we're creating posters for their display. And then this year, Nationals is normally the last week in June, but because of the World Cup, we had to shift. The national competition was the first week in June. So we had the same amount of work that the students have to prepare for Nationals, but in a shorter time frame. So they weren't just in, I don't even know all the times that you all were working together. They weren't working with us. They were at the coffee shop. They were at one of their houses. They were meeting at Bojangles and eating some food and practicing.
Yeah. So I guess you all developed some friendships over time too doing this project.
Yes, definitely. I made 3 new friends. I was already friends with one of the team members, and what actually happened this year, this was my first year participating, Danny was one of my friends, and she was like, you should come join us. And I was like, sure, why not? And now I fell in love with SkillsUSA. I really wish I started it earlier, as my last year is coming up in high school, but I'm definitely going to be there next year.
Okay, what a way to start off, right?
Yes.
And we're going to be happy to have her.
Yep, absolutely. Now, Rebecca, how is it determined who goes from state to nationals?
That's a good question. So, as you can imagine, I said earlier, there's 110 different contests. There's middle school, high school, college division. And so who we're sending to nationals, if you think of all 50 states plus all those U.S. territories, that would be a lot of people if we sent more than one for each thing. So, so each state sends their top representative, so the first place winner. However, sometimes if a first or a second place winner is not able to go for different reasons, then they kind of go down the line and they ask the second place winner or the third place winner, would you like to go to nationals and represent the state of North Carolina? And that actually happened this year. So Ajeda, Danny, and Isabella won first at state in their competition, so they already won the right to go to nationals. And Alfredo won first place in his competition for principals in engineering, so he for for on the college level. So he won his right. And then Jesus was proud of what he did, but a little bummed because he got third place. Not too shabby, third place in the state, number 3 in the state is pretty good. And I said, don't give up hope. There's always a chance that first and second might. And surprisingly, happily, they weren't able to go, and they asked us. And before we even asked Jesus exactly, Mr. Cherry, he went ahead and said, yes, we'll do it. Right. And because we'd already been talking, hey, let's not hold out hope until the end. And I will say that was an extra motivator for Jesus, because he maybe had a little bit of imposter syndrome because he'd got third place, and he worked really hard. He put in the effort. He rewrote his paper. He practiced his presentation. We added things to the presentation. He worked really hard, and it shows off because he also won third place nationally, a bronze level nationally. So kudos to him for putting in that effort.
Yes, kudos. What would you all say to anybody who's contemplating, maybe I want to be a part of SkillsUSA, I'm not sure, I'm scared? Is there anything that you would say to them?
I would say definitely give it a try. While I was spending time at school, I've always heard of the high altitude balloon team, and I've always heard of SkillsUSA. And the thought that always popped up in my head, well, I'm not really sure what that's all about. I think that even if you're not sure, at least give it a try, and I can definitely say that you will definitely find something that you're interested in.
So Rebecca, I know you spoke about how SkillsUSA is beneficial for students, and you talked about training and getting those skills. But how does it benefit the broader community?
SkillsUSA is a benefit to our entire community. So not only does it get the students ready for the workforce, which will only help shape America moving forward in industry and in leadership, but also SkillsUSA has a component where we focus on community involvement. And in fact, in Ajeda's project, one of the things that they get scored on is community involvement. So one thing that they did as part of their project, besides aiding to the larger scientific community and researching data that is useful for the future for space flight and space tourism, but also going out to schools and in communities and teaching the younger kids. So I've always had a thing where you're here now and this is great, but let's work forward with the kids that will be here in a few years. Gotcha. So they had several community outreach events where they taught kids how to solder electronics. They had catapult competitions. They did all kinds of fun stuff. We did a thing at the library where they not only did hands-on activities with the students, but they also read them a book related to, it was something like the balloon that flew to the moon. So trying to tie all that together. And so SkillsUSA is important for the students and their growth, but it's also important to our community to have smart, well-rounded students that are ready to take on leadership roles and have technical skills. But then it's also important to contribute to our community by doing community service, doing outreach, and making our community a better place.
Absolutely. I didn't know about the community outreach portion of it, so that's good to know. Rebecca, how can folks get involved in SkillsUSA? So you talk to your classroom instructor, or you can reach out to myself, Rebecca Stamilio-Ehret, Trey Cherry, Dr. Jonica Ellis-Kaiser. There are several other areas. There are other instructors that are SkillsUSA advisors. If your particular classroom instructor is not a SkillsUSA advisor, they will know who to tell you to talk to, and hey, maybe that's something I want to try, like Ajeda was talking about. Sure. But put yourself out there and try it. And if you try it and it's not for you, then that's good. That's something that you learned. Life's not always about finding what you want. It's also about finding what you don't want. And hopefully we can help you do that through SkillsUSA. All right. So thank you to both of you. Anything else you want to add?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you for having us and giving us a platform to talk about our successes and SkillsUSA.
All right. Thank you for your advising, you and all the other advisors. Congratulations to
Thank
you
you
and
so
your team
much.
and all of the other participants as well. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to know more about SkillsUSA or you want to read about the past competition, you can visit our website at edgecombe.edu. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time right here on News at the Edge.